Next, this is the big money time. Everybody usually just skips to this part anyway. It's called the bottom line. Jen, when you first started this, you wanted to call it Terrible Twos, but Michael wants to call it bottom line. So it's kind of 50-50.
We're just doing bottom line from now on.
It's the final two questions of the show, and it really is the bottom line of the show, called the Terrible Twos. So question number one is, on a scale of 1 to 10, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, what would you rate the first episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier entitled NWO? New World Order.
I guess that's the Wolfpack where they do the...
Yeah.
I don't know how to do things. So I would give this, I guess Jen was closest because she said 6 to 7, and I'm going to give it a 6.5.
I said 5 to 6.
You said 5 to 6, but she said 6 to 7, and I was 6.5. So she's closer. She's one closer than you. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't hate it. I did think that the opening sequence was excellent. I did think that. And I agree with Ryan that did make me care more about the Falcon. I'll say that initially I did not care anything at all for any superhero movies ever. I would always go to see all the X-Men movies on Ryan's birthday because that was his birthday. He always liked to go see X-Men
That was
movies.
His gift to me, was to sacrifice 2 hours of his time
to go watch an X-Men movie in the theaters. But when Marvel came out with Guardians of the Galaxy, our friend Darth was like, "Oh, Mike, you should check this movie out. You're really going to like it." But then it wasn't until my wife was like, "Oh, let's check this movie out." So I was like, "All right, let's check it out." We watched it. We loved it. And then I remember seeing the trailer for Thor Ragnarok, and it just looked awesome. It was like retro 80s synthesizers, and it all took place in space. I was like, this is like sci-fi now. So I was like, all right, I guess we'll have to go back and rewatch everything. And I really fell in love with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I mean, the Infinity Stones is awesome. Doctor Strange is awesome. Vision is awesome. Black Panther is awesome. All these cool, Guardians of the Galaxy, Star-Lord, and Drax. I mean, all these guys are just awesome.
Didn't you say Vision is like your favorite Marvel character?
I think he's top 3. I said so.
Who are the others? Black Panther, Vision, and
Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is probably my favorite. He's just
awesome.
So fun. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I did not really. I mean, as out of all the Marvel movies, the Captain America movies are like my least favorite. I didn't care too much for Iron Man 3 also, but the Thors, I mean, Thor Ragnarok that's just, to me, that's the pinnacle of Marvel Cinematic Universe right there. But then you got Thanos and the Infinity Stones, and all that is just super cool. And so right away, anything that Marvel comes out with, I'm invested, because you have to watch it in order to see what the next stage is because right now, so I guess there's like different phases, phase 1, 2, and 3, and then phase 3 ended with I guess it was Endgame, but then there was also that last Spider-Man movie that they came out with, which was kind of just an afterthought. But now they're starting in phase 4, and it's this whole post-blip universe. That's just, I think it's very interesting to me, and so I was very interested to see how they continue that from WandaVision, where they kind of had Monica Rambeau, who was blipped, and she came back, and then they have, I guess, Falcon was blipped too, and he came back. So I guess what I'm trying to really say is that I do like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but once again, Captain America is not my favorite, and these two guys were not my favorite, but I'm on board. I mean, I think that they've come up with something good, but the execution of this first episode, it was a little slow because you had that first. I'm not really making any points for all of it, but the first section of that episode with that cool action sequence was cool, but then it really slowed down. And I would have liked to seen some more action interspersed. There was a little bit with Bucky Barnes, but then also with the Uruk-hai guys, with the what are they called, the flag stompers or whatever.
The flag staffers,
smashers. But it was I felt it lagged a little bit and was lacking.
Yeah, but we've got a convert. Mike has now admitted that he's a Marvel fan, so that's awesome.
Oh yeah, I have been.
Jen, what do you think? Is Thor Fraggle Rock your favorite movie?
My favorite.
No.
Hey, WTF Fraggle Rock.
I was just making a dumb joke. Scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, you're not gonna hear my Thor stuff?
Okay.
Scale of 1 to 10, I give it an 8.5.
Woo, Nelly.
And the reason why it didn't get higher was because that Bucky left that woman in the restaurant.
Nice.
Bucky.
But yeah.
That's good. That's a good solid one. And they need to learn their lesson. You would give them possibly a 9, but they need to watch their damn mouth. Consider
this a strongly worded letter.
another letter. That's it. But yeah. And then my favorite, I do love Marvel. It's so funny you mentioned like the whole Captain America thing, because I've watched almost every Marvel film and I realized I never watched any of the Captain Americas, and those were like the first. But I just recently watched like all of them because I did want to see Falcon Winter Soldier, and I felt like I needed to watch the Captain Americas to like fully understand that. I watched all the Avengers. I watched like every freaking Marvel movie except for Captain America, which was kind of. But I didn't like. I never had any interest in that superhero kind of thing. But when I watched it, I actually really enjoyed the movies. So. So I was like, oh, it's interesting that I haven't ever watched this, nor that I want to. But when I did watch it, I was like, okay, this is pretty awesome. So it wasn't disappointed. But my favorite Marvel character is Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. Nice.
My man.
Good old Ant-Man.
My favorite.
Well, let me tell you, scale of 1 to 10, what I thought. I guess just without too much explanation, I did bounce around with it a bit, but I was going to give it a 5.5, but then I bumped it up to a 5.7 because, they get, I averaged out kind of like the 9 or 10 opening sequence with like the 2 to 4 that just kind of dragged on the rest of the way, which was completely irrelevant and not interesting and not really, it just didn't feel like a superhero anything to me. But then I gave it a little bit more because they delivered on a great action sequence, which is what we're kind of watching for. So they did, it doesn't just get points for the action sequence, but it gets bonus points since that's specifically what we're watching for in a way. It's kind of like if a sitcom deserves a 5, but their jokes, their one-liners were great, then you give it that little bump, I would say. Anyway, 5.7 is where I'm going. I do like the characters more, so mission accomplished for them there, especially Falcon. All about it, really cool, very happy with that. I just don't know what the heck they're doing. Now, for the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch the first episode of The Winter Soldier, aka Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There's a lot of articles in there.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
But now that the podcast is over and we're free to move about the internet, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, of your own volition, would you watch the second episode?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's Marvel. You got to watch it because you got to see what's going to happen. I know that Scarlet Witch is going to play a big part in the next Doctor Strange movie, and you wouldn't really know about her story unless you watched all of WandaVision. So sorry, Ryan. And the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, something's going to happen, and it's going to be a big part of whatever next movie comes up where these two are involved. So they got us by the short and curlies. They that's what Disney does. They bought up all the Star Wars, they bought up the Marvel, and now that they have all these must-see shows, they're going to come out with Loki next, and we're going to have to watch that because we're going to have to see what happens.
Really, I'll watch the heck out of this.
Yeah.
WTF
we'll watch
Loki.
The heck out of the first of that.
Yeah.
You won't even have to WTF it because we're going to watch it anyway. So.
What about you, Jen? Would you watch the second
I think you already know that I already did. That's my superhero name. Spoiler alert. 'Cause I spoilers. That's my superhero name.
Okay.
And I
Spoiler
won't
alert.
comment.
That's a good one.
I already watched it. So.
The spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
Well, for me, I cannot watch the second episode of a show based on the reputation of the franchise. I'm judging this solely on the merits of this first episode. Like if this were not Marvel, if this was just whatever, some new startup show, and this was the episode, there's no way I would watch the second. I'd be like, no, I'm not interested. And there was nothing really big or important or cliffhangery about it. So no, and I just we all want to watch more, of it because we know it's Marvel. We know it's probably going to get good. We know it's all going to tie into the movies, all this stuff. But then that's kind of a cop out for Marvel because then they're like, we don't have to write anything good. They're going to watch just because of the brand. And I can't really do that. However, I will say that there's a much higher likelihood that I will listen into people when they're talking about it. And if they say, inevitably people are going to be like, oh, it does get better. If they say it starts getting good in the second episode, then yes, I'll watch it. If they go, oh, by the 9th episode, it really starts to pick up, then I'll be like, not going to do it. But
I'll talk to you after and I'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. So it's a no from me. But anyway, if you guys want us to review a series, the first episode of a show, just say WTF and the show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, have some fun with us. Leave us comments in the comment section below.
I want to know. Give me a superhero name.
Ryan would be the curmudgeon.
Yeah, the French stinky cheese. Anyway, I think that's about it.
The
right?
naysayer.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, this podcast was very fun. Jen's shirt was fun, and Michael's nodding was awesome.
This podcast had a decent amount of talk about poo.
Oh, that's true. This podcast was very controversial.
Ooh,
It's so much debate, but that's good.
So thank you all very much for joining us. Jen, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody go check her out online. All of her information is down below. You're going to love her. She is loads of fun. She's very smart. And don't call her a dinosaur and don't tell her to pull out her teeth. Those are old people jokes that she does not deserve. So
if you did tell her that, she probably wouldn't be offended by it.
I don't care.
She's cool. Remember what Michael Kenyon Rosenberg likes to always say.
Don't forget to register to be an organ donor and watch the first of things.